He's powerful, cunning, heartless, and unbearably cruel. To say his name sends a shock of unease through your body, as if slime slides down the back of your neck. When you think about true evil, he is the one who haunts your nightmares. His face is the unknown that lurks in shadows. His voice is the silence before the throes of death. Welcome to CC Writes, where we explore good stories and how they're made. My name is CC Lepke. Today, I want to talk about how to write a strong human villain. The villain of your story is just as important as your main character. I would even go so far as to say that the villain is more important than your main character. Any Joe Schmo can be a hero under the right circumstances, but the most memorable hero shows what she's really made of in the face of a truly dastardly villain. Without a strong villain, your hero is just an overly moralized nimnose. Imagine Batman without the Joker, Superman without Lex Luthor. They would just be overpowered bullies that smack around baddies without any real challenge. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to go into villains that are monsters, villains that are inanimate or a product of the human mind, or villains of the self, such as mental illness or self-destructive behavior. I will place my focus instead on the creation within a story of a strong, effective, and appropriately terrifying human villain. The human villain is a striking kind of monster that places a particular challenge for your hero, a challenge of the mind. Unlike a beast driven by impulse and instinct, human monsters can plan and react with intelligence. Because this type of villain can think, it is more difficult to write. This type of villain has motivation and reason that you have to carefully develop if you want to avoid creating a character that is weak, unbelievable, or, worse yet, unmemorable. Despite the difficulty of creating a strong villain, you can still develop a simple template to help bring to life terrifying villains that will make your hero transcendent. In 3 easy steps, I'm going to show you how to make a villain worth writing. The first step is to write a hero who fits your world. Make it someone strong, brave, and preferably cunning. Just like any other hero, this person should have a backstory, a flaw, and a great desire. The great desire should be something noble and heartfelt, something that your readers can relate to on a deep personal level. The flaw is really important. This hero's flaw shouldn't be something simple like hubris. The flaw should be complex, tied deeply to the character's backstory. It also needs to be relatable, just like the greatest desire. Even the Joker in The Dark Knight, described as a man who just wants to watch the world burn, has a greatest desire. He wants to see Batman lose to his own morals. This obsession with making Batman just like himself speaks to an underlying desire possibly related to the Joker's mysterious past, which brings me to my point about backstory. Your character needs a backstory so that you know where he's coming from, but that doesn't mean your reader needs to know what that backstory is. The Joker is a strong villain because the audience doesn't know his motivation and can only see terrifying glimpses of the desire that drives him. I'll create a character so you can see what I mean. Let's say our hero is a hero of time in a fantasy world. His backstory is that his father abandoned the family when he was too young to remember, and his mother took ill and died before he was old enough to survive on his own. He deeply resents his absentee father, his flaw, and his greatest desire is to keep people from dying like his mother. In the second step, we're going to use the character's flaw to bar the path to his greatest desire. If you know anything about basic plot structure, you should be aware that there's a moment in every good story where the hero is facing down the villain and has to overcome his fatal flaw in order to succeed. I've used Tucker and Dale vs. Evil as an example in a previous video, and I'm going to do it again because I love that movie. As the story reaches its climax, Dale, a man who is crushed by self-doubt and feelings of inferiority throughout the movie, has to face down an insane college kid that he views as superior to himself in every way. With the help of Tucker, who admits that he intentionally undermined Dale's skill and intelligence, Dale's self-confidence is affirmed and he is able to do what he must to save the girl he loves and defeat his foe. In this case, rather than let our hero character overcome his flaw, we will let the flaw destroy him. Our hero of time has been through the hardest test of his life, and only has one challenge left: get the villain to reveal the location of the princess before she dies. When he enters the villain's antechamber, he is faced with a dark reality. The Lord of Darkness, a powerful sorcerer who threatens the safety of the entire kingdom, is his own father. Fueled by unquenchable rage, the hero of time rushes forward blindly and slaughters his father that he hates. He saved the kingdom from darkness, but the princess died because her location was never revealed. Once again, a helpless woman perished because he could not save her from his father. That takes us to our third and final step. Give your newly minted villain a personality. It may seem stupid to have to say it out loud, but you'd be surprised how many people default to the dark, brooding, prideful, angry villain archetype just because a character happens to have a dark past. The reality is that some of the most evil people on the planet are charming. Sometimes they play the buffoon just to distract you from how evil they are. Memorable villains aren't cruel, greedy wretches. Memorable villains are your best friend, who is funny and loves you deeply and somehow manages to convince you to bully others because she finds it funny to push you to do terrible things. A great villain is a flamboyant jester who never fails to make people laugh or put them at ease, only to murder a large group of adventurers in his party so he can transform into the Light King. A great villain has a bold personality that a reader won't soon forget. Our hero of time has a dark past, but that doesn't mean he's a dark person. Well loved by the kingdom, he is kind, compassionate, the kind of soft-spoken guy who can't say no to anyone. His wit is rivaled only by his mastery of sarcasm. His easy demeanor and genuine kindness make it so no one is ever offended by his biting wit. The fact that he plans to open a portal in time to go back and rescue the princess, even though such effort would release time demons into the world, well, that's a tidbit he keeps to himself. The process for creating a strong human villain in your story is not unlike the way you create your main character. In fact, the more you can either parallel or juxtapose your villain with your hero's journey, the better your villain will be. Batman and the Joker are actually similar to one another in almost every way except for the fact that Joker crossed a line Batman refuses to cross. Superman and Lex Luthor are polar opposites. Brain versus brawn. Human idealism versus human reality. It's kind of like a painting where you want to use complementary or contrasting colors to convey certain feelings in the piece. The primary difference between the creation of a villain as opposed to a hero is that their story more closely resembles a tragedy. Macbeth may be the tragic hero of his own story, but he's the villain in Macduff's story. In Borderlands 2, Handsome Jack sees himself as the hero who will save Pandora from the bandits by any means necessary. Reading tragedy is actually a great way to learn how villains are created, so you can get a good idea of how to do it yourself. The bonus of doing it this way is that making the character a hero first will help you develop a bond with the character. When you love your villain, you love what your villain does, and it makes for some truly great action and character development. The villain is so important to the success of your story, so make sure you give him the care and attention he needs to become the destroyer of worlds you know he can be. And remember that conflict is important in the story. Your villain drives the conflict, is the primary cause of conflict. If you shy away from letting your character do evil things because conflict is uncomfortable, then you are undercutting your character, your story, and yourself. Thank you for watching CC Writes. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit the bell so you can get notified when new videos come out. If you have any specific writing topics you'd like me to cover, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I'll go over as many subjects as I can. And if you want more content from me, then you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at cclepkewrites. My books are also available through Amazon.com. You can find them easily just by searching CC Lepke. Thanks again for watching, and have a good week!